Kyler Murray went into the bye week getting MVP buzz. I know that's not what it's about, but he was getting MVP buzz. He was getting it throughout the bye week. I think we can agree yesterday was his worst game this season. He didn't really, they just didn't do much offensively, but then he had the pick six. And before we get into the pick six, and like what the play by Devin Witherspoon, Wolf, I know this guy was, we all remember him being like a highly rated prospect.
Sure.
He was a high pick. That was a pretty ridiculous play. I am going to give him credit for basically having his back turned to Kyler Murray and then being able to cut off the angle that Kyler Murray had. How many times do you see a defensive player essentially outrun Kyler Murray? I don't remember seeing it. So he kind of forced it, and then Kyler made a play he shouldn't make, and it was a backbreaker. There's no way around it.
Yeah, once again, I look at Kyler Murray, and I don't blame Kyler Murray for the loss yesterday. I don't, Basinonians. I mean, you can. That's fine. That's your prerogative. That was a bad, ill-advised throw. There's no doubt about that. He got jacked when he actually was trying to throw the ball. I think it's why it was so inaccurate, the throw. But he probably should not have tried to throw the ball in that situation right there. He had two really, really bad misses in this game. That was one of them, the pick six right there, a throw he should not have tried to make, in my opinion. And then Trey McBride in the end zone.
What is it with that? Those two have like the most amazing connection on the field all game, but not in the end zone.
Yeah, I'll look at those two throws and I'll say that was bad by Kyler. That was bad. But once again, the offensive line was bad. The offensive line, and when a quarterback gets into a rhythm where he knows you got one read and you better find that read or you're going to be in trouble, that's not the kind of atmosphere you want your quarterback being in. So I have a little bit of understanding for Kyler Murray right now. To me, it was the offensive line. You want to talk about somebody to point a finger at and say, why did the Arizona Cardinals lose this game? If you want to do that, point the spiny ruddy finger of blame at the offensive line. Kyler Murray wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination. He missed throws, and I already mentioned the two that I thought were the most egregious. But for the most part right now, man, you've got to give your quarterback, cut him some slack when he's in an offense that can't run the ball, getting stuffed at the point of attack, and has very little time to throw the ball.
This is Jonathan Gannon after the game on the Cardinals radio network talking about what you're saying, the offensive line.
Yeah, I thought that, they started the game pressuring a bunch, and then they calmed that down. And I just feel like, it seemed like Kyler was a little under duress for a lot of that game. So we got to take a look at it, make sure we're protecting better. But I just told the media, it's not just the O-line. It's the backs, it's the tight ends, it's the receivers, getting open at the right appropriate amount of time. So collectively, we got to play better in the pass game.
Yeah, right on, right there it is. That is something, too. I'm so glad that he said that. It's the backs in blitz pickup. Pick up your guy, block your guy. It's the wide receivers running routes against certain coverages. Get open. How about that? Again, it's not just the quarterback. And I realize in today's NFL, Basinonians, everyone blames the quarterback. And that's fine, I get that. But as a former player, I just can't join you in that.
The passing game that Jonathan Gannon talked about right there, I don't know. There's, 6 games left in the regular season. The Cardinals are still tied for first place in the division. San Francisco and the Rams both lost. I'm not sure anybody's left on San Francisco, and they play Buffalo next week. This is still very much ahead of the Cardinals. I think you need to win that Seattle game in 2 weeks for sure, and you're still probably going to need at least 3, probably 4 more wins to get in. If I'm going big picture with what we've seen this season, I trust the running game. I do trust the defense. The passing game outside of Trey McBride has just been inconsistent. Now, I know Marv almost had an amazing touchdown yesterday, but he had 3 catches. Michael Wilson did have an amazing catch. He had 2 catches. Greg Dortch had 1. Your receivers had 6 catches yesterday. That's like, if you're talking about, is there an area that you could improve for the final 6 weeks? If you could wave a magic wand and point it at this team and say, this area gets fixed, it would be consistency in the passing game, outside of Trey McBride, who, by the way, had 12 catches for 130 yards.
Yeah, it is. Trey McBride was going off. There's no doubt about it. They've got a chemistry. Kyler Murray feels so comfortable, obviously, throwing the ball and targeting Trey McBride, no doubt. But if Marvin Harrison Jr. goes ahead and catches that ball once again and keeps his wherewithal, stays inside and gets that second foot down, he has 4 receptions on the day for 7 targets, 64 yards, and a touchdown. That's what he would have had. And again, you'd be looking at those numbers and you'd say, that's not 164 yards, but it's still pretty good with Marvin Harrison Jr. if he just would have gotten that foot down. And once again, this is an area that I will continue to critique. Marvin's got to do a better job of understanding where he is on the field. It was a great catch. He pulled that thing down. He had the catch. He's got to get both feet in. And I know it was hard. It's hard based on these. I'm not critiquing his effort. I'm not. It's his awareness that I think has got to improve. And once he is aware of that, he can address it and he can get better at doing it.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't even really care about the offseason right now, but maybe you're adding more in that room in the offseason. I don't know. It just, in a game like that, it felt like the Cardinals just didn't have the ball for a lot of that game. And they did have the ball, but it was just, they weren't running. They like we established earlier, they weren't even really trying to run in the second half. But the ball was only going to Trey McBride. And by the way, he was catching everything and he was open pretty much every time. Like, it was the right decision. But when you're down and you're not running, you would love to have just like a 30-yard pass to a receiver, an explosive play, a chunk play, anything. Yeah. Even at the end, I was surprised that they kept throwing little short passes over the middle instead of trying to go down the sidelines and just – and it's not like Seattle was giving it to him. Like, a lot of times you'll see a team drop back and be like, here, you can have 15 yards down the sidelines because you're running out of time. But I don't know. That was a game where receivers needed to step up, and they were just quiet.
Yeah, they were. And again, it's amazing the buzz that was around the Arizona Cardinals going into the bye, right? There was a massive buzz about the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray and how well he was playing. And suddenly they play a game and the haters are out in force once again right now. All the wannabe tough guys that are out there as well. And I'm just going to say this right now. This is a team that is in it. This is a team in year 2 of this rebuild right now. And, yeah, I wish they would have won this game. They had every opportunity. When your defense goes out there and gives up 10 points in the game, okay, 16 with a pick 6, even 16, if they would have given up 16 points, I would have never believed the Arizona Cardinals lost this game.
No.
Okay, they win this game every time, in my opinion, and they didn't. They didn't. The offense wasn't good enough. There's no doubt about it. The offense broke down. But right now, they're still right in the middle of this thing in year 2 of this rebuild. And to me, they got 6 games left. What are you going to do about it?
It felt like a Seahawks-Cardinals game, though. I'll go back to that. I mean, you had the missed kick by Seattle. You obviously had one late by Ryland. I mean, the game was kind of done by that point, but it was just in Seattle. It's rainy. I don't know. Like, if the game had played out the exact same way, but the Cardinals were playing the Bills or whatever, I'd be like, okay, they're not coming back. Even down to like the very final couple minutes, it was like something weird always happens when the Cardinals play the Seahawks. It always does. And there's always these, like, wasn't there a 6-6 games? Did I imagine that like 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, there was a 6-6 football game.
Yes.
Like, these teams just play weird games that, they're rarely high scoring. And yesterday fit the bill. If the Cardinals beat them in 2 weeks, I still think the Cardinals are fine, but they're obviously going to have to play a lot better. Here's Kyler Murray afterwards.
No, I think they, again, they did a good job. I think up front they played well over there. Obviously we got to go back and watch the film and see exactly where, we need corrections and stuff like that. But we just played uncharacteristic football, and then again, credit to them. Like I said, I feel like they kind of dominated, for the most part.
Yeah, you know what? That is great. That is a great start right there. Kyler, tell the truth. And all that you do, tell the truth. What happened? And once you tell the truth, then you have other players telling the truth. They're going to look at that tape and get better because of it.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.